Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show, the 18th of November, 2021, brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. Best prices anywhere in the New York City tri-state area and beyond on rock salt, which, by the way, they have plenty in stock. So if you can't find it where you are, head over to Omni because they've got plenty of rock salt and all the snow melt products, the good snow melt products like Pelleto, Mag, ice pellets and flakes, snow blowers, shovel spreaders, whatever you need to get you through this winter. 631-756-1125 is the phone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. Wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs, and they're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York. The telephone number there, 631-957-5106. Whether you're having your home decorated for the holidays or perhaps you're doing this as your business and you need access to stock, well, they've got not only plenty of stock in, but they also have extended hours for the rest of this week, which is till tomorrow, of course, the work week, and they'll be open over the weekend. So be sure to head over there and get your Christmas holiday decorating house plan in order. The website is liholidaylighting.com. So here we are on a Thursday night. I am feeling a little bit under today, folks. So I don't know, something's been at me for the last week to 10 days. I've been feeling slightly off for a while now, so it seems to be coming to fruition today. But nonetheless, we've got a lunar eclipse tonight, and I am going to, from my understanding here, in this particular area, I get to see 99.2% compared to totality of 100. I get 99.2, and my skies are mostly clear here in Northeast Georgia already. So the only thing I have to remember to do is wake up at 4 in the morning, which I cannot guarantee, by the way.
And I tell people, Joe, who say, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to get up for that. I'm going to say, well, it's going to happen without you. I mean, one way or another, if you get up, you'll look out and you'll be able to enjoy it. But if you don't, then you can read about it the next day in the newspaper. But if you have the ability, because right now I see screen sharing has been disabled.
Oh, I can't.
If you undisable it,
I didn't disable it. I just never enabled it. I'm not the sort of person that disables screen sharing. Go ahead, it's all yours. Do what you want.
Also, isn't it amazing? In our society, I mean, I grew up watching baseball, and whenever a ball player was hurt, if he, something happened to him, he sprained his ankle or something, he's out for a few days, he always went on what we call the DL. And now in the last 2 or 3 years, it's not DL anymore. Now it's IL, injured list. And I said, well, why not call it the disabled list? And I guess it's because of political correctness. I don't know. Well, but I do want to say one thing about that is that DL certainly sounds a lot better, because if you're on the IL, it sounds like you're ill.
That's true.
Right? Whatever.
That's
all
true.
Right. So let's let me share one. I have a couple of screens to share. This is for the folks who live in the immediate New York City metropolitan area, or in the environs, so to speak. And this is the cloud forecast for tomorrow morning's almost total eclipse of the moon. Now, as we are well aware, Joe, in the New York area tonight, we're going to have a sharp cold front move through here, probably sometime between, depending upon where you are, 8 p.m. and midnight, from west to east. And it was a gorgeous day here today. After a little fog this morning, sun this afternoon. I got to 67 up here in the Valley of Putnam, 69 degrees at Central Park, and I'm sure there were places in and around portions of New Jersey that got into the low 70s. But the front is going to put an end to that. It's going to slash on through here in the next few hours, probably with anywhere from, I would say, 1/10 to maybe 2/10 of an inch of rain or shower activity. and it's chugging along at a pretty darn good pace. And from the way I have timed this out here, the back edge of the cloud line will be moving into our area here in the tri-state area after about 2 or 3 of the morning. And that's perfect timing because the eclipse is due to reach its peak, as you pointed out, at 4:02 a.m. And actually, it's not 99, but it's more like 97.4% of the moon
For you.
Eclipse. So it's not for everybody.
No, I was told by the Atlanta weather person on Channel 2, I think it was the ABC station, and they said 99.2.
Well, he's wrong.
All right, I'm just telling you what he told us.
Lunar eclipses. Lunar eclipses are not like solar eclipses where, let's say, Atlanta gets 50% coverage.
Right. Yeah.
And New York at 25 or something like that. In a lunar eclipse, everybody sees the same thing. The people who are watching the moon in Australia will see exactly. It's kind of like if you're in a movie theater and everybody who is sitting down represents a different country or different place on the earth, and you're looking up at the movie screen, waiting for the projector to turn on and show you the movie and keep you entertained for a couple hours. Basically, in a case like a lunar eclipse, the moon is the movie screen, and we are waiting for the play of shadow, the Earth's shadow, to move over the moon. And it as I said, everywhere, wherever the moon is above the horizon during the eclipse, everybody sees the same thing. And the exact percentage, as calculated by the folks at the Naval Observatory, 97. Not say it's 99%. I mean, what's really big difference between 97 and 99? What they're saying is it's not going to be a total. It's going to fall just short of a total eclipse. In fact, let me show you. I've got another view here, and I'm rather proud of this. This picture was taken by my daughter Maria at an eclipse 6 years ago in 2015. This was a total eclipse, but she took this picture a few minutes after the eclipse, after the moon was moving out of the shadow. So it's not totality, but the bottom part of the moon, as you can see, is kind of a whitish color, and the rest of the moon takes on that red or coppery color. That's the coppery glow that you see at sunrise and sunset. The atmosphere, the Earth's atmosphere, bends or refracts the light of all the sunrises and sunsets around the world that are occurring at the time when the eclipse is taking place. And so that red color is bent into the shadow of the Earth, falls on the moon, and the moon lights up like a red ball during the total or near total phase of the eclipse. Basically, when you go outside tomorrow morning at just after 4 a.m. and look up toward the moon, this is pretty much what the moon is going to look like. Probably the top part of the moon will be darkest. The rest of the moon will have this kind of a coppery or ruddy color to it. And at the very bottom, the part that is sticking just outside of the shadow, not in the shadow, that 2.5% that's outside of the shadow, still shining brightly. And that is the part that will not be undergoing eclipse. And some astrophotographers have come to call this the Japanese lantern effect, because it does look kind of like a Japanese lantern in the sky hanging up there with the reddish color on the top and that whitish or yellowish coloration at the bottom. So I think based upon my forecast, Joe, I think the back end of the cloud cover with the cold front will be moving on through by about 2-3 in the morning. And I think just in time by 4 a.m., I fully anticipate when I get outside to see the moon and not see a bunch of clouds or any rain. So
at least you hope. At least you hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the unsettled weather, I think, will be out of here beginning around midnight or 1 a.m.
Because if there's an astronomical event that's visible in the east or visible in your area, for sure there has to be clouds. So I'm hoping it's not the case for you, but your luck doesn't run too well with these sorts of things lately. But by the way,
I
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You go.
I honestly believe that in 2 weeks, when I'm down under in Antarctica, and we have a total eclipse of the sun due that go around. The climatology says 90% chance of cloud cover. So I'm not fooling myself. I know that the only effect we're going to see during that event is probably going to be the shadow of the moon sweeping in like this gigantic severe storm silently over us and then past us at like 3,000 miles an hour. I don't expect to see the sun and the corona and the stars out because it is going to be probably cloud. No one will be more surprised than I will if we have clear skies that day. But I'm already prepped myself for not disappointment because it's an amazing sight even when it's cloudy. But you're right. Usually we don't have much luck up here in New York, especially with these celestial spectaculars. In fact, Dennis Cassia, one of our folks on the chat board, refers to it as Spode's Law, which is kind of like Murphy's Law, except for astronomers, where you prepare for a great event,
Right.
something special, something beautiful to see in the sky, and then come the morning of or the night of the event, you end up with, and that's that. I don't expect that to be tomorrow morning, though. I think we will luck out.
I'll wait to maybe experience an eclipse where the sun passes between the Earth and the Moon. That would be that would be it utterly. I mean, just to go out in a blaze of glory. I mean, that would be utterly fantastic. But
that would be a lunatic eclipse.
Yes, it certainly will.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, I want you to know something. I want you to know.
Yes.
I want you to know that I am such a good friend that even though I went on YouTube and I YouTube searched Drake Passage ship videos, I did not send any of them to you. I just want you to know
thank
that.
You.
But there was a wonderful one from apparently, was it called the Northern Princess? I think the ship was called. You know, big boat.
Was called?
No, I'm sorry. Well, it was called that when they went out, and this was back like 2009 or something. Anyway, the captain, whoever it is, the captain or the voice comes over and says they're having to change course. They're decided to head toward Cape Horn because there is there's a storm in the Southern Ocean, a 957 millibar low, by the way, a 957 low. Yes, and apparently the forecast was for storm force, I believe it was 8, which translates into 36-foot seas. And anyway, they decided to try to outrun it and head up toward Cape Horn so that they could avoid it, and then they would turn around and head back to wherever it was they were going to. I did not send you that video. I just want you to know that. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So
the fact that in the back of my mind I've been hearing Gordon Lightfoot singing "Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald."
Oh, stop.
Or seeing George Clooney in that one dramatic scene where he's trying to climb a 40-foot wave in The Perfect Storm.
No, you should
without success.
You should instead think about Kate Winslet. Have Renata be Kate Winslet on the Titanic, and stand over on the edge like she's flying, and you holding on to her, possibly for dear life, possibly not, depending on whether the paperwork was signed. But no matter. Anyhow, we have 31 likes so far. Welcome to everybody that's on the chat board tonight. You can tell that even though I'm not feeling well, my dark sense of humor is still working overtime. Now we have 32 likes. Thank you for those of you who have hit the like button. If you like the show, it would be great if you could hit the like button. Joe and I always like to take the number over 100, which we did last night. So if you could help us do that, that would be terrific. And you could subscribe to my YouTube channel so that anytime Joe and I do a Joe and Joe weather show, which is 5 days a week, you'll get a notification letting you know that we're doing a live show. Okay, so let's look at the satellite and take a look at what's happening tonight. And you can see the clouds in the northeast. This is on the enhanced now. It does look like there's a bit of a sharp line moving across western Pennsylvania. I'm going to say now there's clouds that are swinging around the Great Lakes, but those are not going to come east. Those will hang back. But I can see where the clearing is, Joe. So I'm going to just judge from the satellite that it's already cleared out in Pittsburgh. So if we use the 8-hour rule, it says that it should clear out in New York City. Well, that would be 5 a.m., but based on the satellite, it probably cleared out there about 2 hours ago. So by 3 a.m., it could very well be partly to mostly clear. The clearing line could be right down the Hudson River to New York City and running down along the New Jersey coast.
Yeah, I believe it. Absolutely. There does not seem to be any. It's very strange, because usually I'm like on pins and needles for events like this, saying, "Oh my goodness, are we going to be doing?" I have a very high amount of confidence that we will have a good view tomorrow morning of this astronomical event. Which, and by the way, we started putting up our Christmas decorations outside, Joe, and normally when we do so, we have like lantern lights along our driveway. And Renata was asking, she looked at me like as the sun was setting and said, "Well, did you forget to do something?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You forgot to turn on the lights. You forgot to," because these lights normally are off and we keep the bulbs unscrewed. Most of the time, we don't use these lights, but only during the holidays. And I said, "Well, I'm not going to screw them in. Why? Why aren't you?" He said, "The eclipse. I want to get a nice dark sky, a nice dark." I said, "Oh, okay." So, tomorrow, Renata, we'll screw the lights in, but and get the rest of the decorations up. Frosty the Snowman now adorns my front lawn.
Oh, very good. Very good. We've got more moisture coming into the western part of the United States, particularly the northwest, where we're dealing with basically mountain snows and valley rains there. Also seeing some clouds over Florida in the southeast. The clearing line is probably running, I don't know, maybe along I-85 and then going southwest to just over me in northern Georgia and continuing south and west of there. Those clouds are going to be thinning out. So I'm at the very least, when I went outside a little while ago with the dog, it was partially clear. So I really don't think I think I'm going to be mostly clear. And it's getting cold tonight too, because it's already down to 43 outside. So I'm not happy. I had the fireplace going a little while ago. Oh, and I got my humidifier today. It came. Thank God for Amazon.
Oh.
Thank God for Amazon. I actually got it a day early, so I was more than thrilled. So I should sleep well tonight. Meanwhile, let's check the radar and see what's going on. And you can see showers there from northern New Hampshire and Vermont, also up into northern Maine, moving southwestward through upstate New York. The leading edge now not too far away from the northeastern New Jersey counties, now moving into southeastern PA. And actually, there were a few thunderstorms. There were 1, 2, 3, looks like 4 special marine warnings that were up in Chesapeake Bay. I think it's down to 3 now. So SPC had the thunderstorm risk into southeastern Virginia, so it wound up being maybe a little bit further. They needed to nudge it up maybe a little bit further to the north. The storms are now off North Carolina and continue down over the state of Florida, where we do have some scattered showers and storms there. And of course, it just remains endlessly busy in the Pacific Northwest with impulse after impulse coming in, bringing in more rainfall. Let me just acknowledge the chairman, Scott Briller, who hit the Super Chat tip jar tonight. He's out busy doing his COVID runs, so we wish him well and say stay safe, Mr. Scott. And also Michael McGuire hitting the Super Chat tip jar. He says he's getting up at 4 to catch the eclipse. The front passed as advertised. The clouds are now clearing rapidly. 70 degrees at 8 p.m. now down to 64. Michael, where are you? I'm going to guess you're in eastern North Carolina. Down to 64 and falling steadily. Yeah, you should be perfectly fine. WPC, rainfall from WPC. I'm looking at this, Joe. I mean, obviously tonight, the rainfall amounts out of this are going to be it's going to be a quarter of an inch or less. And wouldn't shock me. There are going to be some areas that are probably going to be 1/10 of an inch or less. But I'm looking at the 7-day rainfall with the next system for Sunday night and Monday. I would have thought they would have shown a little bit more precedent than they are, but they only have in total. They only have 1/4 to 1/2 an inch from New York City south and west, and then under
That's surprising.
under 1/4 of an inch down in Virginia and North Carolina. I mean, they're still showing bigger amounts, but even in New England, they've cut it back a bit, and they got bigger amounts in southeastern New England, up to about 1.5 inches with the two systems combined, and up in southeastern Maine. I guess that's the southeast corner of Maine. I never know what to call that part of Maine, where we've got several inches or more from this event, and then the system for up there, it'll be a longer event Monday into at least Tuesday. So yeah, I really thought I thought they would have beefed this up, but I guess at least off the dayside guidance, and the European wasn't especially bullish with precip, by the way, so maybe that's what they were looking at. Some 3/4 inch to 1.5 inches in the lower Mississippi Valley here over the next 7, and continuing to see up to several inches in the Pacific Northwest. The probability of at least 2 inches of snow. Why don't we take a look at that? I'm going to reload the map here and get a fresh one. So we'll get the probability of at least 2. At least we get, start getting used to seeing these maps as we draw closer and closer to December. So in the Northeast, this is through Sunday evening. So obviously nothing's going to happen after tomorrow or whatever lake effect goes on tomorrow in upstate New York. But you've got a small area in Northwest PA and in southwestern New York, where there's about a 50% chance of at least 2, and also a very small area on the east shore of Lake Ontario, north of Syracuse, where there's the chance that there could be at least 2, and a small area up in northern Vermont and New Hampshire, where it's pretty much a 10 to 30% chance of at least 2. Elsewhere, as we move it around, we're picking up on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan here, also not really all that exceptional. 50% chance of at least 2 in a very, very small area near Sault Ste. Marie. And going west in the Northern Rockies, here we have a more substantial risk number, 80% for at least 2. I'm going to just switch it quick to see at least 4. And there you go. So the fair amount of at least 50% probabilities for at least 4 in the Cascades, and then on up into northern Idaho. So Tom Contino is informing me that southeast Maine is referred to as the southern Maine coast. Down east is further north. Okay, Bar Harbor to the Canadian border. So actually, I'm referring to down east Maine and not the southern Maine coast further south. I was actually referring to down east Maine. So, but thank you for providing me with that information. By the way, Izzy D hitting super chat tonight. He got to 75 today, Joe, and I actually have the high temperature map showing. Now, even the wind off the ocean didn't prevent the temperatures from getting into the low and mid 60s on Long Island and along the southern New England coast. We had some 70-degree numbers pop up in parts of Massachusetts, and lower 70s in New Jersey, in southern Pennsylvania, basically I would say south of Route 78, and even some places like near Baltimore approaching 75 for a high. So the sunshine and the southwest wind kind of outdid itself and brought those temperatures up quite nicely. So I don't know how much of the guidance you got to look at today.
Well, as I said, I spent much of the afternoon with the decoration, so I really did not see too much. But the thing is, some news sources have been beating the drum, saying dangerous storm arriving in time for Thanksgiving. I don't know. Am I looking at something different?
Is that still going on today?
Yeah, they're still talking about the possibility of some.
Well, a possibility of what?
I know.
I mean, the only issue, depending on the low in the ocean, and if it gets trapped, the only issue is going to be the wind. Which may be gusty along the coast, and maybe there'll be a couple of stretches where the gradient will get tight enough and we'll have some gusts to 30 or even 35 or 40. But it's not like we're getting pouring rain coming with it or heavy snow coming with it. I mean, where is this all coming from?
It's coming from the people who like to turn the pot or stir the pot, so to speak.
Oh, well, I mean,
maybe
just,
they might get a few extra.
I get frustrated. At the same time, I'm happy that they do it because it just makes us look that much better. So let them keep doing it then. Excuse me.
But it does a disservice to the general.
It does. But you know what?
Because
they don't pay attention to us anyway, so they get what they deserve. Ha ha. Anyhow, I don't.
Yeah, Chuck Cardillo says Joe Chiaffi. That is still going on today. It was on ABC News with David Muir this evening, so they are still beating.
You know what? What are we? I mean, it's not like we're going to call them up and they're going to take our telephone call and scream at them. It's not really going to do anybody any good. So let them just go on with it. They'll, and once that finishes, once that runs its course, they'll just move on to the next major storm that's going to affect, how many millions of people from Baja to Bangor. I don't know. Anyway, so we're looking for this big block to develop. That is going to happen. We have an upper trough and cold front moving through tonight and Friday, and that keeps on going because the pattern is still progressive. But we start to see ridging strengthening in the North Atlantic as the next trough dives into the eastern part of the United States. And this is where it gets tricky. How strong is the block going to be? Where is this blocking high that you see out here? Where is it actually going to be centered? Is it going to be well to the south of the south coast of Greenland, or is it going to be further to the north? That could be important in terms of how long it takes this thing to get out of the way. Now, one of the things that happened today in terms of the runs, Joe, the 12Z run really pinned this upper low off the coast for all of next week. I mean, it was still windy into Saturday. You still had isobars, on the coast into Saturday morning. Now, the GFS and the European, even less so than the GFS on the 18Z run, has kind of backed off on that, and it's got the upper low for one further east. So you can see there's an arm that's rotating around back into western New England, but it's not really quite doing the same thing with the surface. But it still means that we're going to wind up being on the windy side at least into Thanksgiving Day. And then the question after that is how fast does the block break down? Because it is ultimately going to break down, and that is going to be impacting the next system, which by Friday is lining up somewhere down in Texas. Now, what's funny about this, Joe, is that the 12Z run suggested that the block would stay strong through the weekend and that this southern system would move straight east off the Georgia, South Carolina coast and basically weaken and fall apart because of the block and there being no room, so it would get squashed. Then you have the 18Z run, which goes once again to the opposite end of the extreme, where the block breaks down and the trough lifts up in the Ohio Valley. So you wind up taking a low that moves up the west side of the Appalachians and goes to Buffalo. I mean, so obviously the models are going to have a tough time dealing with the block. And that is going to be critical with regards to what the outcome is. And just to, throw a little bit of fun into the mix, if we look at the European, excuse me, I apologize, folks. I mean, I'm trying to hang on here with this this cold. I think it's a head cold that I've just been fighting off for days now. But if we take a look at the European in the upper air, the European really wants to hold that upper low, Joe, near Nova Scotia, and just kind of keeps it there next Sunday. And actually, there's another short wave that's coming behind it in the northern stream. You have a split flow, and then you have a southern upper low sitting over Arkansas. And, you kind of look at this 500 and you think, you know what? The upper low in Nova Scotia is going to have a tough time getting out of the way because there's a ridge south of Greenland that's out there. So
Right.
you can wind up taking that system in the southern stream and just kind of shooting it straight east to the mid-Atlantic states sometime early of the week of Monday, November 29th. So I think there's probably going to be something of interest to look at toward the end of the Thanksgiving weekend and into the last couple of days of November. Exactly what, I don't know. And it's all really going to hinge on how strong the block is.
Well, I'm hoping that doesn't come to pass. Of course, I'm supposed to leave on that on the 28th of November for points south. So
Right.
the last thing I need is some kind of a disturbance that might disturb my otherwise nice trip down to the bottom of the world. So
Well, I mean, the 28th,
we'll see.
The 28th is Sunday. I can't imagine, it getting in that fast. Although the GFS actually brought rain in here for Saturday night and Sunday for that weekend, but I think that's really rushing it. In the meantime,
That's the 18Z.
That's the 18Z, correct.
Yeah, right.
That just seemed way too fast for my taste. So here we go for, well, we already know what's happening tonight, so that's gone. A breezy, chilly day tomorrow, some lake effect in upstate New York. There are no big storms anywhere across the U.S. We've got a nice day on Saturday. We should be able to see mid to upper 40s for highs on Saturday. I think we'll see mid to upper 50s on Sunday. And hopefully the rain holds off until late in the day Sunday or maybe after sunset. And then we get this cold front to bring through showers into Monday morning, early afternoon. And that front moves out. I mean, it does move out far enough offshore. So, but the gradient stays tight here over New England, down into Virginia and eastern North Carolina. This is Tuesday afternoon. And even on Wednesday, the gradient is still pretty tight. And even Thursday morning, the gradient is still on the tight side. And the GFS is still trying to, whip back some Atlantic moisture late Wednesday into early Thursday morning. Who knows if that's real or not? And then, of course, it pulls the weakens the block out quickly, and that allows the next low, which, here we are Saturday afternoon. This is Saturday evening, Joe. It's got rain already up to almost to Boston and north of Albany. A low in southeastern Kentucky. I just think that's way too fast. I really do. That just seems way too fast considering that nothing's really moving on the Atlantic side.
Yeah, I think what we're going to be looking at, so funny is that the fact that, you're going that far out now, talking about, let's say, the end of the Thanksgiving weekend, and that, beyond that, I'm not going to be around for about 2 weeks. So all of these events that are going to happen in the first half of December are going to be events that I'm going to miss out on.
Well, that's true.
I feel kind of deprived.
Yeah. Or
not depraved,
not
but
depraved. But deprived. Okay. Well, make sure you make that clear, to the studio audience.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yes. I would guess that system, if you want to take the European at face value, which is down over northern Louisiana on Sunday morning, that might be flirting with the mid-Atlantic coast. Let's say the following Tuesday, which would be what? That would be the 30th of November, the end of the month.
Right.
So that would,
you'd be long gone by then.
No, but I understand that. But I mean, unless, of course, that low decides to continue to maintain itself over the Maritimes and kind of forces everything further to the south.
And it winds up getting squashed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think all those things are possible. So we'll just have to we'll just have to punt to the next run, the next I don't know 5 or 6 days, because this is not going to resolve itself tomorrow. I'm sure we're still going to see possibilities, but at least you know, look, it's never about what the maps show. It's always about gaining an understanding of what actually is going on in the atmosphere. That's what you and I do, as opposed to people who just haphazardly take maps off of tropical tidbits and then post up snow maps and snow amounts out at day 10, day 11, and then they go with the usual stupid disclaimer that says either this is not a storm, or this is not a forecast. Could this happen? Yeah. Could it not happen? Yeah. I mean, you're really not telling me anything. You're not telling me anything when you do that. At least have the decency to just, explain in context. That's the thing that struck that I would ask any of these people that do that. Okay, it has a low off the mid-Atlantic coast on day 10 or whatever, just for laughs. Why? How did it get there? What's going on in the upper air that gets it there? What's going on in the upper air now that leads you to believe that it would be there or would not be there? Those are all questions that they can't answer. I think this goes back to what you said in terms of watching TV people now. You get no context whatsoever. You get absolutely no context whatsoever when you watch most TV people as far as what's happening weather-wise. They tell you to wear a jacket in the morning. They tell you to make sure you have your hats, gloves, and shoes all ready on Sunday before you go to church. But that's all they do.
But Joe, you remember that the hierarchy at all of these TV stations tell us, hey, you have to do a school bus forecast. Or,
yeah,
hey,
you know what my answer to that? You know what my answer to that school bus forecast is?
What is it?
It's like, you know what? I didn't even get to ride in the school bus because I went to Catholic school, and the New York City public school system at the time wouldn't give Catholic schools a darn school bus. So guess what? I had to take 3 city buses. I'm not making this up. I had to take 3 city buses. I had to take the 22 in Country Club, Joe, that used to show up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's it. Okay, if you missed that bus, you were absolutely screwed. Okay, then I'd have to change at Pelham Bay to take the 12 to go to Eastchester Road and grab the 9 the 9 bus to go to. Now this was when I was in grammar school because they didn't have room at the local schools, so I still went to St. Philip and James, which was on Gun Hill Road and near Gun Hill Road and Boston Post Road. So then I would take the Eastchester Road and then walk the half mile from there down to the school. Okay, and I mean that's what I did every day. 3 buses took me an hour and a half each way, and this was when I was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Right.
So you know what? You don't need a school bus. The school district that I lived in, they sent the school bus. If you lived a quarter of a mile from the school, you got a school bus that came to your door because God forbid you should walk down the block to go to the school. We had a school at the end of my development. They got school buses that used to pick them up at the front door and then literally go 6 houses down and drop them off.
Right.
I mean, how ridiculous was that? And then you wonder why you pay $12,000 a year in property taxes.
Tom Contino is asking on the chat board, Rich Hoffman does a school bus forecast on his News 12. He says, is that a News 12 mandate? And yeah, probably it is, Tom. Probably it is. I suspect that the school bus forecast was or is sponsored. So if it's sponsored, you have to do it, even though you don't want to do it. We never really wanted to do it because I'm not going to speak for Joe, but I always thought that takes like 20 or 25 seconds out of my time that they allot to me to do the weather. You have to do your school bus.
Yeah, forecast. Thank God. I never had to do it. Never had to do it. By the way, Doug Wetzel hitting super chat tonight. Thank you, Doug, for hitting the super chat tip jar. And we're up to 68 likes, which is terrific. So we got another 32 to go to get to 100. So if you haven't hit the like button, make Joe Rayo happy so that you hit the like button. because otherwise he's going to have to go back on the roof to put those Christmas lights, and he's going to be sad. He's going to have a sad Frosty the Snowman face because he didn't get the 100
You know,
lights.
you often talk about how amazed you are about Renata and how she does things like, look at snow blowers and try to fix them, and chainsaws
Oh,
and try to get the thing.
I think it's absolutely grand. It's wonderful.
So today we had found out that the lights, the string of lights that go up to the peak of the roof and down, that the blues and the greens were flashing, but all the reds were out. And I said, you're not going to sit down and jiggle each red light to try to, but sure enough, I when I was doing my library talk, before, which is why we're doing it at 8:30 tonight instead of the usual 7:30. While I was doing my talk, she's upstairs fiddling with the lights, and when I came up in between the break, between the end of the talk and the beginning of here, Joe and Joe, she said, "Well, I found the light." I said, "You found the broken light?" And sure enough, it was a broken light. She found it, she replaced it, and now the whole string of lights are working again. She's unbelievable, amazing.
Well, that's
because I thought
this woman fixes
I said
this woman fixes chainsaws, changes the oil, replaces her brakes, and fixes Christmas lights, and then can bake an 8-layer butter pecan cake that was out of this world. I mean, what more can you ask for?
I guess I'm a lucky guy.
You are.
Yes.
And you're going to Antarctica.
And I'm taking her with me.
Yes. Well, you make sure you keep each other warm while you're there. You're getting you're getting a stateroom.
That's what they said they're giving us.
Okay, just checking.
So
just as long as they don't give you bunk beds.
Before we were married, we were working at the same weather office in Flushing. And one day I went outside and I noticed I had a flat tire. And I said, "Oh, damn it. I gotta change the flat." And so I jacked the car up. This was actually my first car, Joe. It was a 1973 Dodge Polara. This was a big car. And I had to jack the thing up, take the tire off, and my problem was I couldn't get the tire off. What do you call that thing that looks like an X that you put into the
I forgot.
the lug?
Yeah.
Whatever. I put it in there and I couldn't move. And I was out there for like 15 minutes trying to do that.
And then of course Rosie the Riveter just came along and just like with one hand,
No. I went back upstairs to the office, and she had this look on my face, and like 3 or 4 other people in there, and so's my future wife. And I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do." She says, "What's wrong?" He said, "I can't get the bolts off the tire. They're stuck." And she looks at me straight in the eye, and everybody was in the room when she said this. He said, "Well, that's because you don't lubricate your nuts."
Yeah. Very good.
She said that with a straight face too, by the way.
I would imagine.
She didn't realize.
I would imagine.
As coming out of her mouth. It was not done in a sarcastic manner. He just said, that's because you don't lubricate your nuts.
And ever since that day, you've probably made sure that your nuts were lubricated.
Exactly.
Now, I would have been really impressed that she opened up her pocketbook and pulled out a can of WD-40. That would have blown me away. That would have totally blown me away. All right, look, we're 10 likes short of 100.
Tom Cortino.
10 likes short,
Tom
folks.
Cortino, he says, "Please consider AAA at $30 a year. It will pay for itself." Tom, I have been a AAA member since 1980. And I became a AAA member when a mutual friend of Joe and I's, Pete Bergman, we went down, Joe, to WOBM in Toms River, New Jersey, for a Christmas party that they had. It was on a 14-degree night. There was some snow flurries in the air. It was a bitterly cold night. And after the party was over, we started driving back. and all of a sudden his idiot light, that's what they called him, right? For
Mhm.
he was overheating, and he turns up the heat, he tries to turn up the heat, so that maybe this is going to save off. His thermostat blew out, and we ended up somewhere like in Seaside Park at a taxi stand. He left his car there. We took a taxi back all the way up to New York.
Oh
And
God.
I said, "What are you going to do?" He said, "What are you going to do?" He said, "I got to go back down there now to, because the AAA took his car to like one of the local shops, and he got it fixed or whatever. But and ever since I saw that AAA in action, I said I got to become a AAA member, and I've been a AAA member, Tom, for about 40 some odd years. So no, but I wasn't going to call AAA to get my nuts lubed.
No.
I eventually did get. I did eventually get.
There's a different
everything.
there's a different kind of phone number that you call to get your nuts lubed, but yeah, AAA is
Exactly.
not it. All right.
Precisely.
All right, we're down to 3 likes to get to 100, folks. Just come on, get us over the top because I'm tired and I really want to go to bed. I'm not feeling well. I'm acting like a big
Come
baby
on,
here.
98. 98. Let's go. 2 more.
We ranted and raved. You got a good comedy act out of the show. It's a Thursday night. Come on, knock it over 100 and we'll be happy. Okay.
99. 99.
Yeah, 102. Enough. Stop. Okay.
103.
103. Okay, good. Very good. Oh, I'm so happy.
And you know what's what's impressive, Joe?
Yes.
103 watching, or 105 watching, 104 for likes. Thank you so much.
More people are liking the show than watching it. The Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York. They have extended hours through the holiday season, so you can get whatever you need, and they have plenty of stock with regards to wreaths, garland, Christmas lights, Christmas balls, snowmen, penguins, Santas, elves. So head over there, 631-957-5106. If you need more information, give them a call. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. Omni True Value Hardware has the lowest prices in town for rock salt, the lowest prices anywhere in the New York City tri-state area. And that includes, by the way, the big box stores. Okay, so remember that. They're at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, 631-756-1125. And the website is omnitruevalue.com. All right, so we'll be back Sunday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. And we'll hope to see you then. Okay?
Bye-bye, everybody.
Good night.
Nighty-night.